is another episode of UFO Garage.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Joe. And this is where we talk about UFOs, aliens, and all things weird.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, dude?
Chilling, bro. Chilling.
Good. That's always a good thing to be doing.
Hanging out with my friend Dan here.
Yes. Mr. Dan Barberan.
Say what's up, dude.
Hey guys, how's it going? Glad to be here today.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we're glad you're here too, man. Long time listener, man. He's been around. He's like one of the first 5 people to find us, I think, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You hopped on it quick, and like, man, when we started our Facebook group, one of the first people that would actually like post interesting things and just chat with us back and forth. And we were like, damn, this stuff is fun. Like, you get to meet cool people. So yeah, man.
In the very beginning of the podcast and Facebook group, there was me and one other guy, and I think I've forgotten if it was Joseph, that we were carrying the load for the Facebook page. It felt like,
yeah, dude,
gotta populate it.
Yeah,
content.
Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember the beginnings, man. It's crazy. And like, as you go on, you won't be able to remember everybody, but like the first 20 are like, oh, I remember all of these. I even recognize when like people don't post.
Yeah.
In a while. I'm like, hey, so and so hasn't posted in a while.
Yeah. It's funny, like the content. There's little ebbs and flows of people posting certain things, and then Joe will post something. I post something like maybe like once a week or something, just depending on what it is. Like, I almost posted something about the stock thing that happened yesterday. Did anybody hear about that, by the way? Like,
yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I don't mean to get off topic, but yeah, like, yeah, the posting thing, like keeping content on the Facebook group, like, yeah, I couldn't ask for a better community. Like we were saying before we started recording, such a just awesome group of people. It's kind of rare that you don't get a troll that kind of stirs shit in the pot. So, knock on wood, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So we're taking applications for trolls. Is that what we're?
No.
No. I think we've had like 2 trollish things, and everybody just ignored it. Like, nobody even responded to it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So yeah, it worked out just fine, honestly. So
yeah. Well, Dan, man, for those listening, tell everybody like a little bit about yourself, and what's been happening in the past year or two that you've been listening. Yeah, floor's yours, man.
So I'm just like you guys. I'm just a regular guy that has an interest in UFOs, aliens, all things weird, including Bigfoot and things along those lines. So the way that I ended up falling into y'all's podcast is my father-in-law had passed, and I had to travel up to Ohio to attend the funeral, and I was needing something to kind of take the mind off of what was going on. So it's an 8-hour drive from where I live in Tennessee. So I ended up finding several podcasts, and then I think you guys had 2 or 3 episodes under your belt, and I downloaded them all and ended up listening to them all back to back to back on the way back from that. So it was just like a nice break from the seriousness of the events that had just occurred to be able to get into something and relax a little bit mentally. And what I enjoyed about your shows the most was probably that you guys are you guys got good vibes. There's not really a better way to describe your personalities, but you guys are just positive. The UFO topic can get real intense and serious, and you guys are a nice amount of levity in the world of UFO and all things weird. So that's how I got introduced to you guys. But I'm a mechanical engineer by education. I'm a project manager at one of the state universities here in Tennessee as over construction of new buildings and renovations and things like that. But I've had a lifelong interest in, well, I think something you've mentioned before is ancient architecture as far as like megaliths go. Like the conversation that you had with your wife when on your first date, from what I remember, the wife wife episode.
Yeah.
It sounds just like conversations I've had over and over again. It's just something that's always fascinated me, the mysteries of the world that are out there. So I got into that. I've gone back and forth with getting into UFOs and aliens because it is such a strange topic and hard to pin down, and you don't want to feel like you're wasting your time. So every now and then I would lose interest and back out, and then get back into it later on. But that's me in a nutshell. I'm an engineer. I'm a family man. I got 2 kids that you've sang happy birthday to. So once again, thanks for that. That made their day. But that's me.
Dude, that's epic, man.
Epic.
That's so great. I love it, man.
Dude.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah. So like that, I love that, man. So great to have you on the show. Like, yeah, just that perspective. It's insane. So you mentioned 3 episodes, and those were, I think we released 3 episodes in one night, and that's when we were like deciding to do a podcast. So, whoa, that's a crazy synchronicity there, man. I mean, if any sign is that we were supposed to connect at some point, that's probably it, because no one knew about us. Me and Joe were like, yeah, let's just post some episodes.
Yeah.
And
the car and the logo is what hooked me. That was the big hook.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
We have to thank Joe for that.
I actually had a 64 Impala when I was in college that I bought for $3,000 because I thought I could work on it and fix it up. It ran, it did everything it needed. It just needed some love on the outside, and I did not have the time or the resources once I realized I was broke. So I ended up having to sell it. One of the biggest regrets of my life.
Yeah, I know the feeling all too well, man. I definitely do. Because I had a 70 and it was kind of the same thing. It ran, it did everything. It just needed a lot of TLC. And man, it's like, I'm like 17, 18, getting ready to go to college. I don't have any money. Like, I worked at a barbecue restaurant. I think I made like maybe $100 a week, like just part-time. It's like, dude, I'm not even a mechanic. I don't even know what I'm doing. And we didn't even have like good YouTube back then either. So it wasn't like that simple.
My favorite part about YouTube videos, as far as car repair goes, is you can quickly find out what you shouldn't do yourself, where your limit is.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. Well, dude, hey, speaking of YouTube videos, you recently shot two cool little videos, man.
Yeah. So I've gotten into night vision, sky watching. Basically, on a couple of occasions, you guys have mentioned that you're not going to see anything unless you're actually looking for it. So I started getting into the habit of going outside at night and just kind of looking up. When I'd go walk my dog, I'd look up, and it was fulfilling. I saw some satellites cross overhead. I saw a shooting star here and there. Then I started looking into night vision. So I actually ended up getting basically the cheapest night vision binocular that you can find on eBay. So for like $110, I got this thing. And I'm telling you right now, it is a game changer. I couldn't find any good reviews online about what it looks like to use night vision to watch the stars, but it makes an enormous difference. You can see 15, 20, 30 times more stars than you can right now, and so much more detail. So, if anyone hasn't done it, you should give it a shot. It doesn't cost much if you can spare the $100 and something to get one. Get one with a record function and get one with a rechargeable battery, and then just sit outside and listen to podcasts while you watch the stars. So that was the 1-2 punch. I could listen to a podcast about UFOs and then actively hunt for them.
Oh my God.
Yes, dude. So, you're doing it right, man.
So it records. You can set this thing up to record. You don't have to like attach your iPhone or anything.
No, that was what made me pull the trigger on this one. Is it's all included in one package. So it's just turn it on, push the button, 1, 2. It has a zoom function, but this thing's field of view isn't very good. It's like a 5-degree field of view. So if you put your arm all the way out and look at your thumb in the night sky, that's about how much of the sky you can see with this thing at one time. Whoa. So you're constantly moving it around, trying to see small parts of a big puzzle. And so sometimes you get lucky, and I got lucky twice so far.
Yeah, sheesh. Yeah, that's an understatement, man, because the footage that you sent us, now that I know that, is insane because, yeah, the field of view. So I know we haven't watched it yet and the viewers haven't seen it yet, but yeah, so just to preface it, were you just kind of looking in a specific direction, maybe set up how you came across? Have you seen things with like the naked eye and you were like, hey, I've got a feeling, or how did that happen?
All I did is spend a lot of time outside. I didn't have any feelings. I'm not linked in with the universe like some people are. But just spend enough time out there and enjoying the outdoors, it helps out to find things. But more or less, you're just kind of looking around constantly. It takes, the best way to look at this is if you are just sitting outside looking at the sky, it's equivalent to sitting on the side of a lake with a bobber and a worm and just waiting for something to come and see. Yep. But if you have the night vision goggle, you can look around and you're more actively pursuing something. So it's kind of like getting on a boat and going after the fish. So there's a difference when you have the technology to hunt these things a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably like the best analogy I've heard ever.
But what's happened is I've just started to record anything that I see in the sky, because I don't want to just like, hey, here's a video and I think it's something amazing, because without having eliminated the mundane explanations, then it doesn't have the weight. So I've been spending a lot of time just documenting, that's a bat, that's a bird, that's a bug, planes, helicopters. I actually took it down to Florida, and I got to film some nighttime military maneuvers from the beach. So I spent probably 30 minutes just watching these F-18s flying around with other chaser planes, doing maneuvers. And it just makes for an interesting way to spend an evening.
That sounds like so much fun.
I'm buying night vision this week, bro.
Right now.
I'm gonna get on after this and buy a night vision.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Can you tell us what the brand is so we can like literally buy it like right now?
I'll show you. It's a ESS LNB. Just Google night vision monocular on eBay, or don't Google. Get on eBay and look for it, and there's just tons of them, and they're all 5x40 is basically the magnification that you're going to find this one in. But record button. Awesome. And rechargeable battery, because you don't want to be swapping batteries out all the time.
Right. And dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's just one of the things, because like, over this past year, like I've seen a couple like kind of cool things up in the sky, and it's like, whoa, what's happening? And the God honest truth is, damn it, I just started looking up in the sky. That's like all you have to do. Like if you spend the time to go look at the sky for a few hours, you'd probably be kind of blown away at some of the stuff that you see. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. The one thing people ask me, like, that I haven't, family or friends that haven't seen me in a while or whatever, they say like, hey, so how's the podcast going? I heard you said you like see a bunch of weird shit in the sky all the time. And I'm like, hold on. No. I'm not saying I see UFOs in the sky. I'm saying that I see some weird lights in the sky periodically. I don't know. Like you said, Dan, like you've seen satellites. There's all kinds of stuff. There's planes that are, way high in altitude that it might be government. It might be commercial. Sometimes you don't see the flashing light, but I'm interested, man, is that in that you've done so much research at this point. I mean, let's call it research, because that's what it is. If you spend enough time looking at something and recording data, you're doing field research right now. And that's like the best thing that people need right now with everything going on. A lot of speculation. One thing that you're maybe bringing to the table is your perspective on what is human and commercial, and like you said, military. like, you know what that looks like in night vision, at least, like the difference in those two videos out of what, like, you know, like 15 seconds per video or something. I think one was like a minute, but out of
one was
that
2 minutes.
Yeah. So that reference of how much video you've gotten versus the stuff that you've seen oh, that's weird is interesting to me.
There's definitely repeatable videos that you're going to get. Like I filmed a bunch of objects that are high in the sky going on a perfectly straight line, and then they just vanish off into the horizon. That's just normal. I mean, there's tons of those things. You can see them with your naked eye. Then I've seen other things that are high in the sky, and they'll change. They'll be they'll take a non-linear path. So they're not going to be just arrow straight like these other things. Don't know what they are, but I haven't filmed anything that takes a right angle turn. That's the one thing I'm hoping to catch one day. That would be the cherry on top for anything I can find, basically.
Right. Yeah. Do you have a laser?
No, I'm not trying to call anything in any closer to my house. Dude, I don't want them.
That's probably smart, my friend.
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about that the other day. Unrelated, but she was like, I don't want any doors. If there's a possible door, keep it closed.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah. The laser thing though, it's like, hey, down here.
Here I am. Like, dude, like, you don't even know, like, what is it called? Morse code, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're just blinking that light and you don't know what you're doing, like, you could be like, eat me. Yeah. Or like,
balls.
I like things in my butt. Yeah. You didn't know that that's what you said. And they were like, man, this guy likes things in his butt. Let's go get him.
We weren't going to do it, but if he's asking, we might as well.
Yeah. We want to be good neighbors. You know? We're flying through their planet. We could at least be neighborly.
Yeah.
And put something in his butt for him.
Yeah, it's like people driving and there's, you know, like some unfortunate homeless person and you give them $0.25 or $1 and you're like, hey, I feel okay, let's do it. It's like, yeah, these UFOs might be just passing through the vortex and they're like, oh well, somebody said they needed something in their pee hole, so I'm gonna stop and give them something in their pee hole.
Dude, I think those videos that you got though, man, are pretty cool, man. They look pretty awesome. Like the flashing light, like, you know, the way they flash a little bit. I even noticed watching one where it was going across the screen and then it like jumped up and then jumped back down like really fast. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember that too. And so we're talking about weird, strange, taking different directions. I feel like that you definitely caught that on film.
So I'll be honest, I don't have the steadiest hand. So it could be jumping around. It could be me being excited because when you do get something in your night vision, there's a certain amount of, it's like hooking a fish. Like that's when the game is on and like the goal is to keep it in sight. So there's some excitement that comes along with it. So that could explain some of the jumpiness, but
I totally get that. Yeah, but oh man, I'm about to screen share and watch these again. You won't hear the audio, but I'd love to play them just because we're gonna probably put this on YouTube. And
play through. We'll talk about it as we play through it.
Yeah, y'all want to take a look at them real quick?
I'm down.
Okay, so this is the first one, floating orb. Okay, share your screen, scream, pew, done. Okay, all right, you guys see it?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Let's start at the beginning, full screen mode. Boom. And
so as I start, I'm laying on my back porch, looking straight up in the sky. So this is basically a direct straight up into the sky angle, and it moves from directly over where I am to my left, which is over towards my house. So you'll end up seeing the roof line of my house right there at the very end.
Yeah. Is this handheld or is this on a tripod?
It's handheld because things move around, and I mean, I've got it on a little tripod, but usually it's up on my eye, just being held. Trying to keep it as stable as possible.
A lot of it does look really stable. That's why I was asking. Okay.
Practice.
Cool. That's
after a while, you do start to smooth out.
We all need to get a sky hub, dude.
Yes, we do.
have they made one with the night vision option yet? I've seen that they have like light sensitive lenses, but they don't have like night vision.
I haven't seen the night vision, but I'm wondering, because if you go to the site, you can build your own Sky Hub basically with they have options that you can pick from. I'm sure if you're like, hey, can I get a night vision lens on one of these cameras? I bet they could make it happen, or know somebody, or I don't know. I don't know how difficult the process is. It doesn't seem very difficult, but you would think that if it's going to be searching stuff at night, they would have some sort of availability for that. Or maybe on the app, you can switch it from like night vision to the just regular light sensitive. I'm not sure.
I think you got to send a letter to Joe Biden to do that.
Oh, you guys are also why I say Bo Jiden every time I talk
Bo
to him.
Yes.
Bo Jiden.
Love that. Okay, you guys ready to see some pterodactyls or what?
Let's do it.
All right, so we're playing. All right, so Dan, you're on your back porch, looking up at this. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude.
So just I live in a small town in Tennessee, between Nashville and Knoxville, called Cookeville. So we don't have the worst light pollution in the world, but I'm in the middle of the suburbs. So this is just in a random backyard. So if I could see something like this, anybody can find stuff like this.
Yeah, this is an insane amount of stars, my friend.
And don't forget, that's only about one. Like if you look at Orion's belt, it almost fills up the entire screen, those 3 stars. So you're not looking at much of this the night sky when you look through this thing, but it's a ton of stars.
Dude.
Yeah, that's cool. It's almost like see-through.
Yeah.
Like you can see right through it.
So I was going to ask about
blinking.
So
and another weird thing is with the camera, you can actually see stars through the clouds. Like if it's a partially cloudy night, you can see the stars as the clouds pass in front of it. You can't see it with your eyes anymore, but you can look through the cloud and see the brighter stars still. So you can see through clouds and things like that. It's pretty interesting.
That's cool.
Dude. Yeah, we gotta get one of these things. This is insane. Okay,
the only thing that like I could think of is like if it is a satellite, right? And it's just super far away, but you're all the way zoomed in, you can't see the satellite, but maybe you're picking up the flashing of the satellite. And that's why you could see through it. But like,
it's a steady light source.
I don't know.
This orb one, after you've recorded several of these things, you kind of get a feel for, is this thing far away or does it feel closer? Mainly because of the speed. And this thing didn't feel that far away. So it could be partially due to me having it focused to be able to see the stars and see the objects far away. This object's closer, so it's going to be blurrier just because of that alone. But that doesn't explain why it has a strobe effect going on, it's just really strange. And I did an experiment this morning where I took a quarter and filmed it with my monocular, and at about 15 feet away, the quarter is the same size as this orb on the video. So if it's 15 feet away from me, then it's the size of a quarter. If it's further, it's bigger than a quarter. So that I can't tell distance with just this one data point.
Right.
Dude.
That's cool.
Dude,
that's.
Do you really like? This is insane evidence, my friend. Like, Dan, I think you're right with the reason why it's translucent is because it's far away and what you're seeing is dispersion of light and the camera's focused on a different depth of field. That's the minimal amount of camera knowledge. So
me too.
I agree with you. I'm not saying like, oh, he's right. I'm just saying like, I think you're right on that. But dude,
yeah.
But
you can also see at the very end of the video, I get some of the trees that are near my house in focus, and you can see those fairly clearly, and those are 50 feet away. So it's still a pretty decent amount, but
yeah.
So is this is the camera, is it autofocus?
No, it's all manual. I don't have that kind of cash to throw at a night vision goggle.
Well, that's actually even better though, because that's a better for the the awesomeness that is this video, because you can bet that there's no weird unsynchronization between the autofocus and where the sensor is. I don't know. I'm speaking a lot of stuff manual, that I don't know about, but I feel like manual has to be a good thing for, dude. Okay. So I want to show you this little piece, this little bit, because I would like to put my ticket in to say that this moves around a little bit and maybe it slows down, and we'll watch it again and just tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Okay. Does it not pause for a second and move around?
Because it's on the like right hand of the star, and then it like jumps over like on top of it. See? Yep, it goes down. It like wiggles.
It like follows this. It almost follows this pattern of the stars a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It does like a little S move. It looks like.
Yeah.
So when you guys are watching it, it's not moving on my screen, just in case that's
do you not see
it? I see that you got it pulled up, but it's just a still shot right now.
Okay, so I have been like pausing it and playing it. So let me know. Let me know if it's playing. All right, I'm playing it right now.
Is it playing on your screen?
No, sir.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Dang it. Let me try.
I've seen it enough times. I know what it looks like.
Okay, well,
don't worry about me.
Well, on your end, Dan, on like run it from 20, maybe later, but second 22 to second 28 probably. You'll see what we're talking about. I wish you could see what we're doing. It's probably internet connections and stuff like that, but yeah. So Joe, you see what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about.
There's a moment where this object kind of it moves. It does it. It's not a straight arrow path as you would think that is a man-made thing going. Maybe it's man-made. I don't know, but it's not a commercial airplane.
And everybody and a lot of people are going to say it's a bug, but man, I've yet to record a bug for more than a fraction of a second. Those suckers are just all over the place, moving too fast, too close to me. So that one to me looked like it was kind of floating is the best description I could come up with for it.
Yeah. It's like it's just like a little particle in the sea.
Yeah. Almost like a jellyfish.
Yeah. Like one of the dude, have y'all heard of that theory about like animals that just live kind of like in the upper atmosphere and like in space, where like they're attracted to like thunderstorms and things, where it's like an actual animal, but they think that it's like it's made of like plasma, and it's like this little ball, and it floats around and it's attracted to like, you know, thunderstorms and shit in the atmosphere. So when they come down, they absorb that. It's like an energy, and then they'll like go back up into the atmosphere. But they say like when they come down, that, you know, from the ball shape, when they come down into the atmosphere, they start to flatten. And so if you have a ball and you flatten it and it's made out of plasma and it's glowing, what does that look like?
Oh my God. Space jellies.
Really, yeah. Yeah, it's like it's almost like a jellyfish, dude. And then like some of them like have died apparently and landed, and just a whole nother conspiracy thing to go down. But I mean, the thought's not crazy. I mean, we find new animals all the time. Like we just never thought that like, oh well, there's no oxygen in space, there's no animals there. But what if it is like a conscious plasma type ball just rolling around? I mean,
everybody that's watched Planet Life knows that there's like this gigantic migration of animal life from the depths of the ocean to the surface every single night. I mean, they travel miles up and down, as above, so below. Maybe there's something in our skies that we don't know about because we aren't up. Like if we're passing by in a metal plane, we're not exactly sampling and looking around for these small things that might have some bioluminescence. Yeah. So who knows?
That's such a great analogy, dude. Like, yeah, every night these particulates that live on the bottom of the ocean travel miles to the surface. I mean, from the microscopic to the even a little bit bigger, like plankton and like the things that whales eat. It's every night. It's this migration. It's crazy. But yeah, dude, like that's such an awesome, I've never thought about that. Great point, Dan. Why can't that exist in the sky and we just don't know about it? I don't know.
Like some of the NASA videos that you see where like you'll see them looking at the Earth or something, or like the arm will be extended and you see all that like random kind of like in like almost see-through type shit floating by. And you're like, what is that? What are those? And people are like, look, it's a UFO. Well, maybe it's not like a UFO. Maybe it's like this animal that lives kind of like, you know, right above Earth, you know, just far enough out of the atmosphere. And, you know, maybe shit, I don't know, daytime they come down and charge themselves or whatever. And at nighttime they go back up. Like, shit, if I know, man, you know.
Yeah. Maybe the big ones live up by the space stations and the small babies live in my backyard. Maybe that's what I recorded, because I think I know the exact video that you're talking about, and it sits there and pulses as they're filming it in space, and it pulses at almost the same rate as the one I filmed. That's what
reminded me was your video. Yeah. And I just went down this rabbit hole and I was like, dude, there's animals in space now. Like it was a good night. Let's just say that.
I'm trying to look that video up right now. The idea that there is like a life form that exists that we don't know about. What do you, Dan? What do you think about the possibility? Like, do you think that people are just so close-minded about that, or just being a little ignorant, or what's your take on that?
I think that we got a pretty good grasp of what's going on in our material world that we're aware of. But as soon as you shift into an area that we aren't familiar with it as part of our everyday life, then things get a little bit more questionable. So if it is a living, breathing entity like we know it, we would probably have a pretty good shot at identifying some signature of it or it itself. That being said, we're going to have a Bigfoot on display one day in a museum, and they're gigantic creatures. And I don't know if you guys listen to the eyewitness testimonies on Sasquatch Chronicles is another podcast I'm completely hooked on. But there's enough people seeing those things that it got under our radar. I mean, there can't be that many people seeing something and it not their imaginations. It just doesn't seem right. And we could use that thinking and apply it to things in the skies as well. Like if it's a giant creature that's neutrally buoyant and can float in the skies and never has to come down to Earth, the chances of us collecting samples of them are slim. We just don't operate in that environment.
Yeah. Because I mean, dude, like I've thought about like, you know, like, yeah, totally. Maybe there's another like physical being, like, you know, like Samantha was saying, like the white ones, the tall whites or whatever, how like they travel through space just like us. They're just a little more advanced, right? And then you have like these interdimensional things that like can switch through dimensions, like, and then I got into this floating jellyfish plasma thing, and it started kind of clicking. It was like, yeah, dude, like maybe like it is like weird to us and we see it as a UFO, but like if they're interested in like these like in like thunderstorms because of the lightning and stuff, then maybe that's why we also see like these little orbs and stuff around like highly energetic places on the planet. All over the planet, you know, there's like these certain spots that are just more energetic than others, and that's why they're attracted to those areas. Like, you know, maybe there is no thunderstorm, but they need some sort of energy, and maybe those spots are where they get it, you know, and that's why they come down so close, you know. I don't know.
So this is a conversation that I can't have with anybody that I personally know, because no one is willing to go down these rabbit holes like this, but I love this stuff. Like there's a chance that these things, whatever we're seeing, maybe it's not eating like we eat, like we consume things, but like the way that we consume energy is a chemical process.
Right.
Maybe they bypass the chemical process and go straight to absorbing electricity or energy elsewhere. And that puts them in a different realm than ours. And so that's why we have a hard time grasping them. It's hard for us to understand that maybe they're fifth dimensionals, like you guys were talking about the other day.
Yeah. I mean, you got what? You got insects, you got mammals, you got cephalopods, like you got everything broken down into like these little groups. And this is just like a new group we haven't really discovered yet. Like I'm kind of feeling that idea that like some of the things we consider to be UFOs are really animals that maybe we just haven't figured out what they are yet. We didn't realize that they were some type of energy animal. It's a new category of animal that we haven't come across or haven't been able to study or research because we didn't know something like that existed, you know?
I think
we can have samples of things, physical samples of things, and not have any clue what they are. And this goes into my other obsession is Peru. Right now, the megaliths in Peru are what's fascinating me. And in Paracas, they found those 300 elongated skulls that do not fit the atomic structure of a human being. And you can go look at those things. No one knows what they are. You can't tell me those are regular humans with anything. They're just different, and we don't know what they are, and we've got a physical sample.
Have you seen the Nazca mummies? I know we've talked about them, but is that
I might be confused with the Nazca mummies.
They've got the thumb and the three fingers like this, and they're like chalk white.
All right, I think I know which ones you're talking about. Those I've heard some not so flattering debunkings about those.
Oh no, is it a hoax?
Yeah.
No, damn it.
But the Paracas elongated skulls are Brian Forrester, who is a personal hero of mine now because he lives in Peru. He's an American dude that just moved there because he loves it so much. It's his life's mission to figure out what's going on there and all these megalithic sites around the world. But they've traced the DNA of these 300 elongated skulls from Paracas back to like the Caucasus Mountains over in Europe. So they were traveling overseas at some point. Sorry, Sophia's making a special guest appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That
the Caucasus Mountains is something that Joe has been. Remember, we had this whole like discussion about where white people come from, and like the Caucasus Mountains. I'd never heard of that before.
Oh yeah, and how like some people believe that the Caucasian race like originated in that area.
Yeah.
I got stuff popping up on my computer. Sorry. But yeah, and then that's kind of where the name came from. Caucasian. It just evolved like through time. I'm trying to remember what I read when I read through so much stuff, dude. Like you start like mixing stories together.
Dude, me too.
Little pieces of it.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, okay, I don't mean to get off topic, but Dan, I've got a question for you. As an engineer, you're interested in structures. I have been have you been paying attention to Bright Insight? I know I've posted a bunch of his videos on the Facebook group. Have you been following him at all?
Yeah, I've been watching his videos for a few years now.
Yeah, I love that guy, by the way. He's like, I love that dude. Like, he's hilarious. He doesn't give a fuck. And he just...
The Ricat structure is the best ones that he's ever put out, in my opinion. The Eye of Africa. Holy smokes.
Oh, you talking about like, he has this this idea that Atlantis... he knows where Atlantis is. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the one, man.
Dude,
that's an awesome watch.
Love that video. Holy crap. So I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about like structures. So whenever we get to it, dude, there's so much.
Dude, it's your show. Let's go down there right now.
Dude, I hate to like point it in a specific direction, but I mean, you have experience as an engineer. I've been watching these videos of Bright Insight. He just went to the Giza pyramids, the Great Pyramid, not the Step Pyramid. Yeah, the Bent Pyramid, and got some really awesome videos. The Bent Pyramid hasn't been open to the public for 20 plus years, and we got to see some of that footage. Were you able to see some of that footage, and what are your thoughts as an engineer? Like, what do you think the pyramids were made for?
So I'm a mechanical engineer, and there's no air conditioning in the pyramid, so I don't have a lot of expertise on deciphering why they built them and how they built them, but I bet it's 55 degrees in there, just like a cave. That being said, man, there's no telling why they put that much time and effort and precision into those things. This leads me to bring up the conversation that I was having on Twitter with Ryan Bledsoe about the lady and
perfect segue.
So you want to segue us into it?
Hey, we're jumping. This is what the show is about. We jump. It's very tangential for sure.
Yeah, this is what my mind is like inside. It's like a ping pong ball in a glass sometimes. But more or less, the Chris Bledsoe had an experience with several different things, and one of them is this entity that he calls the Lady. And his son Ryan Bledsoe was on SOR radio with Dave Scott, who's got the best hair in ufology.
Fucking love Dave Scott.
Yeah, and Dave Scott asked Ryan if he knew the name of the lady, and he wasn't going to tell us, but he sure gave us a lot of breadcrumbs to try to put it together.
He did.
And as soon as he said that, I think I probably did what most people were doing. It was Googling Egyptian goddesses. And I sent him a text or a Twitter comment that he didn't respond, but I'm sure he's busy. But then within like 10 minutes of me sending that out, a question comes in from a podcast called UFO Garage Podcast, asking him if he's talking about how do you pronounce her name?
Hathor.
I've heard it pronounced a few different ways, and I'm sure I'm doing it wrong. Hathor sounds right.
I'm from Texas, man. That's Hathor, man.
Yeah, but it ties into Egypt religious. I don't know. I'm struggling here, Ben. Help me wrap this thing up.
Yes,
the goddess
absolutely.
of cows, dude.
I've been called out for cutting people off lately, so I'm like trying to like not talk as much. And you're a very great speaker, so I'm like trying not to like okay. Blah, 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 blah. You know, you need a little bit of space in between your words, right? You're very good at that. Anyway, so dude, I've known about Hathor for a while. There was a documentary that came out a couple months ago on Netflix that dove into. It's the same people that discovered or rediscovered and cleaned out this old, not a tomb, but it's more of a monastery type thing. Man, I'm also struggling on words tonight, and people that know what I'm trying to say, send it to me, ESP wise, but.
It's a temple, bro.
It's a tip. Thank you, Joe. But yeah, dude, the pillars that they found are this lady with cow ears, and it's all over the place, and not just in that temple, but it's found everywhere, and it's such a strange detail. Like, why? Okay, cool. So they find out that this goddess Hathor is, it's definitely called many different things. Like it started out as the goddess, the right hand of Osiris. Is that right, Joe? Is that Osiris or is it Ra?
One of those.
I think they call it like a cohort or something.
Isis. So it was Isis's first wife, and then she goes off to do something else around the world, and she comes back, and there's another chick in her place, and that became a different goddess. So she's like, "Hey, this sucks. I'm still the mother though. Like I brought all this awesome stuff, all these people." So that began a different cult, kind of, if you will, that really was dedicated to the mother in Egypt. And I know I'm butchering this story. I'm not trying to like educate anybody, but like that's that's the nutshell coming from an idiot. That's what I was able to find out.
And if you go through the attributes that they describe of her, they line up almost exactly with Chris's description of the lady. It's eerily similar is the best way to put it. And so it was kind of an eye-opening moment for me, because I've been obsessed with Egypt my whole life. I've been obsessed with aliens and UFOs all my life. And it instantaneously linked the two together from that long ago to what's happened in whenever he's had his interactions with the lady. So that to me was like a time warp, for lack of a better term. Like if that is something that's consistent from now to back in ancient Egypt, what a wonderful world we live in. Like that's amazing. Yeah. We're just scratching the surface, guys.
I can't.
Yeah, man. So the significance of this lady, dude, like, yeah, it's always bugged me. Like, okay, who is this? Right? It can't just, most people's minds go straight to, oh, it's the Virgin Mary, right? Just if you're just on the outside first glimpse of whatever it is this story is, you're like, oh yeah. But dude, like, you got to think, like, is it like, who is this lady? What's the significance of her? And I think even on one of the other ones that Ryan did, he said that like some of these like high level people, like they almost like kind of not like worship her, but they know about her and they've been following her for like a long time, trying to figure out who this is or like what she wants. And that's why they're so interested in this. Like, okay, like now that takes it to a whole nother level. Like if you have like these secret societies like built around this lady, like who the hell is it? Like, what's her significance? And what does she want with Chris? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the biggest part is like when any of this happens to anybody, it's like, well, like, what do they want with us? Like, I'm not even saying like just pointing Chris out, like in general. I'm just saying like,
Chris gets a text message that says BTB from the lady, and I'm jealous.
Yeah. But it's like, dude, like, I don't know, like, what if she chose you, dude? It's like, well, why would you, like, why would the Virgin Mary contact me? Or two, why would this Egyptian goddess bull lady contact me? Like, what is the significance? Like, there's something there that's the mystery, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's definitely an odd scenario. And it is to me, when I heard Chris's story, it was just, I can put it in the category of every other story I've heard about ghost entities. Like, oh, it's this apparition, it's a spirit, you can see through her, I guess. So that kind of puts her in that category.
Yeah. But
for it to suddenly be linked with characteristics that are consistent with a deity that was worshipped by, let's face it, the civilization that spent more time studying death and what comes after death than any other civilization that's ever existed on the planet. Yeah. So why were they so focused on her? Did they see something? Did they meet the lady? And then is that what's happening with Chris right now? That crashed my two favorite obsessions together in one name.
Yeah.
So I've tried to get Ryan to confirm that on Twitter that it was her, but he of course is going to duck and dodge because it's not his story to tell, as he said, right. And you got to respect that. But man, definitely. It walks like a duck. It quacks like a duck.
And dude, I love this. So I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you guys can see this, but Dan, you shared this on the podcast Facebook group today. Your little interaction, your huge interaction with, I mean, come on, you're talking to Ryan Bledsoe. Like, what? That's insane. So, dude, I just love this, man. Like, it's insane how just that you're able to. I think most people think that, oh, I'm not famous or anything. I can't just reach out to these people. But you reached out to this person, and he's just such a good dude. And he commented back. And I feel like, I don't know, I just think this whole thing is cool. Like, man. So
he gave us the old "I cannot confirm nor deny" response, which you gotta love.
Yeah,
that means yes.
So for those listening, I wanna just if you're not watching on YouTube, that Ryan Bledsoe he posted, "She's the most beautiful mother, the comforter. It's wonderful. She's always been here. She's here from creation, from the beginning of all time. The universal creation of all that lives, the manifestation of the comforter, the one who truly loves us. She's here to help, ... And then Dan, you say, what did you say her name was again? I forgot. I love that too, dude. I love that. like I think it's funny because we want to know. And
I feel like we know, but we need confirmation. That's what this whole field is about. We need confirmation.
Yeah. But I love it that you weren't like, but there's so many people I think in this field that would be like frustrated at this time. They're like, but just tell us, dude. I think you approached it very well is what I'm saying. So anyway.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So he, so I guess we skipped a couple, but you said, the person above you said, I don't think he said the name, and you said, you are correct. I was hoping he'd be willing to share that jewel with us if he wasn't on nationally distributed broadcast. I'm still stumped that it's not Hathor. I feel like it's Hathor, right? Like that sounds way cooler than Hathor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hathor. But based on his description, have you been able to solve the riddle? And then Ryan comes in to both of you guys and says, who said it isn't? I never confirmed or denied that. Winky face. We all know what that means.
Dude. Okay, so now the next question I have is, if she's the mother of all creators, the beginning of time, well, why is she being represented by Egypt? I mean, time has been around like for so long before Egypt even was a thing.
I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's just that's how Egypt is perceiving her. We're seeing her as she's wearing a robe and it has twinkling stars in it. They're seeing her as something that's magical to their society, which was cows back then. Maybe that had a higher significance to them.
Didn't they also worship the bull at some point?
Oh yeah.
I feel like they worship the bull because of.
But then because that's where people talk about the constellations and moving into the new house, because then they switched to the ram, and then it switched into this new house. So they had these different things that they worshiped through time and through the stars. What they would see, it would change, and so they would enter this new era or this new time. And just at that point in time, that was their thing, was the bull.
Yeah, it would have been Taurus, and then I don't know astrology.
This about the weather, right?
I don't know cosmetology. I didn't go to cosmetology school. But
what do you think I'm a weatherman?
What do you think? Is it cold outside? It's participation outside, okay?
There's a lot of participating on me.
Participation in the sky. But yeah, no, there's Joe. I think you're onto something. If it was the time of Taurus, whoa, dude, I think we're in, what are we? The age of Aquarius? Are we in the age of Aquarius? I don't know. I feel like that's been a big thing lately.
I think it's the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So it's almost here.
So we're getting.
You gotta listen to the words closely.
We're getting real cleaned up, dude. We got dawn all over us, dude.
Dude.
So one of the other parts of Chris's story, it does have a bull in it. When he met the lady, he turned. I might have this wrong. I'm telling it third, fourth hand at this point, but he turned around and felt a gush of wind, and when he looked back, I can't remember how he described it. An ethereal bull ran through him and knocked him down.
Right.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think, doesn't she represent cows? And I think her sons are bulls or something along those lines. So that ties into the religious text in Egypt, bringing it back to she's represented by the bull. Maybe that's her spirit animal. Who knows?
I got chills. Maybe, man.
Maybe.
I wonder. So, all right, I'm just setting this up. Cut me off if I'm saying something dumb. But the bull, right? Very important agricultural change with humans, where we became, instead of nomads, we became farmers and agricultural geniuses within just a few years, really. The bull was very important because it not only fed you, but you could trade it. It was like almost like the first form of reliable currency in a way. Like goats of course, but bulls were like, damn, that's $100 bill, right? $100 bull. But it's almost like maybe Hathor had spent some time away from Earth since 6,000, 10,000, 15,000 years ago. Now she's coming back on her way through the galaxy, and she says, oh, well, last time I was on Earth, bull was pretty popular, so I'm going to show up as this bull to make sure that people know that I mean business and I want to help. I'm important and I would like to send you a message. Thoughts?
Could be. But I don't think that she's ever left. Like that's one of the theories that I've been putting together, trying to put the pieces together, is maybe there's more than one thing at play. It's very possible that there's things we don't understand that live amongst us. You've probably heard people say that lately. Maybe she's been here. She's always been here. She hasn't left. She just doesn't present herself to us on our terms. Time is different for her, if whatever she is. If she's the same thing that was back in the ancient Egypt time, we're a blink. There's nothing to us. And that's where I'm also starting to think everybody's wanting aliens to contact us from outside, extraterrestrials. Well, maybe they don't talk to humans because we're not number one. Maybe we share the planet with creatures that are greater than us, because every report I've heard, it's always telecommunication. They aren't speaking words. We don't speak with telepathy. She probably does. I don't know how she communicates. Maybe it's like going to a different country. You could talk to anybody there that speaks a foreign language and they all sound the same. You're not going to get anything out of them. But the town drunk that speaks English, you're going to chat his ear off and that's all you're going to get. So maybe these extraterrestrials are coming and we're more or less being shielded, protected from them in some way, shape, or form, because there's got to be good ones. There's got to be bad ones. It can't all be good, or it can't all be bad. And maybe they kind of leave us alone because we have this mother goddess or these other creatures that live amongst us that are kind of a force field for humanity.
Bro,
Yeah.
it's like an embassy. It's the Earth embassy. Like
we're not quite. Humanity is not the Earth's best foot forward by any stretch of the imagination.
You don't say. Also, dude, Dan, that was fucking beautiful, man. I love that's the intro clip right there. I'm gonna just say that.
I mean, yeah, dude, like I had this I've had this thought recently, like just like you were saying, like, yeah, maybe there's something, like maybe there's already something here, right? And it's just way more advanced than we are. We always talk about like, well, like when we become a part of this galactic team, we might be able to start trading, in the stars and doing this and that and talking. And well, if there is like a way more advanced civilization living here, say like under the ground, in the middle of the ocean, like whatever, like maybe we see this stuff as just like air traffic. Like we are on the galactic scale of like trade and interaction with the rest of the galaxy. We're just too dumb to understand what's going on. It's like we go back and forth to the store and like to work, and monkeys don't understand that, right? But we don't like try to teach them like how to go get a job, because it doesn't matter. Like whatever we're doing doesn't matter on that scale. So it's kind of the same thing. Like if they're like way more advanced than us, they're probably not worried about that. Like we're just kind of like collateral damage, and we get in the way sometimes, just like an animal would, on your day-to-day,
Well, the phrase "take us to your leader" has been repeated ad nauseum. Maybe we're not the leader. Maybe the leader is the lady. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, guys. I had a thought about, we're talking about, sorry to backtrack a little bit, but the bull and how maybe she's never left. I started thinking as you were talking, Dan, what if she had, what evidence might we have that the bull might be a significant portion of our daily lives? And I'm just going to share my screen really quick and show you the charging bull of the stock market. I'm sure people have, we're thinking about this as we're talking about it because it's like right in your face, right? And then there's this girl. Has the little girl always been there, or is that a new addition? Because I love that.
I don't see the little girl. Where is she?
Oh, that's right. We have a little bit of issues there with the connection, and I apologize for that. Here, let me stop sharing my screen, and let me pop it back up. There we go. Did it work the first time? Did you see the first screen?
I saw the bull. Yeah, there she is.
There, yeah. So I don't know if that's always been a part of the installation. I just don't know enough about that whole thing, but I just thought that was interesting. Like, has she left? Are we still serving the bull? Does the lady, like, up until this point, the story that Chris Bledsoe and his son Ryan Bledsoe have shared, it's like, it sounds so awesome. Like, I want to know more. And like you were saying earlier, like this connection between Egypt and this phenomenon, bro, I got chills as you were saying it. Like, yes.
Well, it makes, I would believe that it's not singular. It's not just her. If she is what we are speculating that she is, she's not alone. There's other ones that they knew about, other ones that might have presented themselves. We don't know. I mean, there's a lot. We don't know how they built the pyramids. How do we know all the details of their encounters? We don't.
It's the gods.
The gods. Do you guys think like there's, I mean, I think all three of us would be in agreement that like Hollywood sneaks little things in there that are very fucking true. One of those things is to what we're talking about. If you, like in Peter Pan, if you clap loud enough and you believe that fairies are real, they will be real. And it's been such a dumbed down idea given to us as children. It just sounds so silly as adults, but like, maybe it's because we believe in Hathor, that she's able to manifest. And then there's all these other creatures or energies out there that as the world gets darker and deeper, those people that fall into those traps, you start believing in evil, and then some bad dude comes up that stinks. He smells like fish, shrimps, a little bit like toes. And
it's like your belief in your environment.
Yeah.
Like manifesting your reality almost.
Yeah. But on like a global scale, like there's enough power, which tells me like the fact that the lady is manifesting means that there's more good than bad in the world, which is very, very uplifting.
Yeah. So I also think that we rely on technology for our advancements and for what's going on in our world. Maybe our forefathers did not rely on technology. How in the world do you explain the megaliths in Peru where they look like they've been melted together? There's so many things. Maybe they had a different relationship with the environment that they lived in than we do. Maybe like shamanism, like those guys. I haven't ever met one personally, but from what I've read, what I've seen, you guys probably know more about it than I do. Those guys have focused their energy internally and into their environment in a way that we don't do anymore. Maybe we're missing a piece of the puzzle because we don't pay attention to it. We just turn a blind eye to that type of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And look at our phones.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Dude. Yeah.
Dude.
I think everybody's a little savvy to, or being more savvy to what is going on right now. I think dude, everybody's talking about the awakening, but come on, I feel like that's actually happening. I think people are realizing that moment when you stand up from waking up in the morning and you're like, put your feet on the ground and you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm a body again. Okay, all right, this is a bed, this is a house, and then you construct your entire reality. I think we're doing that on a different dimension in a way where we're just kind of like, hey, just the thing that we were talking about before we started recording, the stock market, like the AMC and all that. This stuff, like this game that we've been playing is kind of bullshit and it's kind of rigged, and we're trying to figure out like, why have we been okay with this for so long?
Yeah.
It's all on what your definition of happiness is, and our happiness is defined by materialism in our society, unfortunately. It wasn't like that in Egypt. It wasn't like that in other places. So I think we just aren't paying attention to all the things we should be paying attention to put the whole puzzle together.
Love that.
I agree completely, man. Like, it's like I look around and I've never really been one for stuff, and like, but now it's like I'm older, I'm married, house, kid, and like there's so much, like I see so much stuff, but then like in my room, I'm looking around in my room and like me, like what belongs to me personally, obviously this house, right? But like things, like I'm looking around and like I have my guitars, I have my amps, and I've got a bunch of shit on the walls that I've had since I was like 15. And it's like my collection of stuff has never like grown. Like I've never been interested in that type of stuff. And like, if there was a way to just, cut it off and say like, nah, I'm good. Like, I guess it can be that easy, but when you're living a normal lifestyle, it's not that easy, I guess. It's like you got to have everybody on board. I could go and get a trailer and put it out in the woods somewhere and camp there and be happy the rest of my life, but the family's got to be on board, and that's where it gets a little tough.
Yeah.
And so, it's the environment that we're in, it is so distracting. It's so distracting. But, there's a lot more people that are starting to kind of like wake up to that distraction, I guess. Like I'm kind of interested to see the next couple generations of people. I only get to see a couple, but it'll be interesting to see like with the rise of technology, but also like the independence that you see people starting to have again,
Yeah. So one of the things that I'll ask you guys when it comes to the material world we live in, objects that we want, things like that. I work in construction. I do a lot of home projects. When you guys do anything at home, like in landscaping, what do you get more enjoyment out of? The final product that you get to sit down and enjoy, or is it the feeling of internal happiness that you get from being able to accomplish a difficult task and overcome obstacles and struggle to get to that end, to cross that finish line? I enjoy the project, not so much the product of that project. So that's where I think happiness is. Once I get done with the project, I enjoy it for a little while, and then I'm like, what's next? Because that's rewarding. That's happiness to me, is being productive, being busy like that, adapting, changing my environment.
Yeah. Definitely like the project is the fun part, Yeah, you get to enjoy it, And then it also depends on like what you're making it for, you know. And I think definitely when it comes to like constructing and building and stuff, I like that stuff. It's nice to see the final product, but it's also nice to like be able to see a final product and then be able to do it again but better, and just how much cooler you can make the next thing is the best.
But I'll tell you 100%, it is way more fun to be working on a project at home than for your profession. Like, it's so much more rewarding doing it on your own with your own hands, being the manual labor, learning the skills. That's much more rewarding than watching other people do it for you.
Definitely is. And it's a skill that you can use the rest of your life. Not only did you learn how to do something, but it's something you can literally use for the rest of your life, you know?
Absolutely.
I have a question for both of you guys, because I know my answer is, when you build something for yourself, do you guys kind of, maybe there's a gradient, but do you guys, I know you said that you enjoy the project itself, so does that mean you spend more time to get it right, or do you kind of just want it done to get it going and working? Like, say it's a side table or this backdrop that I built that's like, I mean, honestly, I did a pretty good job on it, but like like shelves or something that it needs like a drywall screw thingy that but I shorthanded it because I needed the shelf right now. What category do you guys fall into? Like, let's just get the idea like done, and then we'll fix it later? Or do you guys spend a lot of time in the moment?
I'm an over engineer, definitely. I'll definitely do too much to get a simple thing done. Like when it comes to trying to hang a picture on the wall, it's got to be perfectly level with everything around it. So it takes me more time than probably somebody that just want to go use a hammer and put something in the wall. So it's definitely different for me. I'm an attention to detail kind of person, and not messing it up. And not having to do it again.
I am the exact opposite.
Same.
I'm extremely impressed with how I'm able to do some shit with like the amount of resources I have. I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. I can't believe I was able to pull that off.
I've got so many holes in my wall from like nails. Like, I had to just buy a bigger frame to frame the photo on the wall because there was so many trying to find a stud. I had to buy a bigger. Yeah.
Like for example, Amanda wanted me to hang up some stuff, and we had run out of like little nails to hang it up, but I had some big ass carpentry nails, dude, like some long motherfuckers. They're big, and I popped them in the wall and hung up those pictures, and then we ended up having to move them because she didn't like where they were.
Oh yeah.
So I took it off, and she was like, "What is that in the wall?" And I was like, "It's a nail." She's like, that's way too big. Why did you do that? And I was like, "You wanted it hung up." She was like, "Well, I don't want it there now."
She was like, "No, what is that photo?" And you were like, "It's a photo of me nude, babe."
So that was like this big ass hole in the wall.
I'm envisioning the end of the nail sticking out of the wall on the other side of it in the other room. It's just too big.
Yeah.
It definitely like if you had like a 2x4 and you went through it long ways, it would maybe poke out the other side of the 2x4. It's pretty long, but
Oh
yeah,
my God, that's amazing.
That's how things go in my house.
Speaking of houses, Dan, are you good on time? How are we doing, bud?
Yeah, I've just had some visitors pop in and out. I don't know if you saw them, but I'm good.
Awesome, dude.
I think they've gone to bed at this point.
Okay, cool. I don't know what your schedule is. So, dude, I'd love to keep chatting if you're down. I don't know.
Yeah, I am. You want to get into the next video real quick? So
dude,
just make sure we hit that.
I do, yeah. But I have to pee. So
okay.
I'll be right back.
Go for it. Hey, we haven't done this in a while, so I mean, while everybody's listening, go check out Redeemer CBD. Those chicks are cool, and they're my faves. And I love that stuff. Everything from like the pre-rolls to the capsules. Dan, did you end up getting some of that stuff?
I did, and I actually took some of like right when I got home from work today, just to take the edge off a little bit.
Nice. Do you like it? Did you end up making that smoothie, that mango smoothie?
So my ambition is not strong in the kitchen like it is in construction projects. So I just had a mango and took a little bit of the oil. Called it a night.
Dude, nice, man. Yeah, I like that stuff, man. It's pretty good. I've tried a lot of different CBD products, and man, that was legit. It actually made me feel something. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It definitely takes the edge off, man. It helps me sleep a lot.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. And also, everybody go check out Phoenix Shaving. Those guys are still kicking, man. Still making awesome shaving products, soaps, beard oils, and all your needs for everything. So definitely.
So I think that's Doug, isn't it? Isn't he the head of the company?
Yeah,
Doug.
Yeah.
Have you seen he's like a regular guest on Alexander Rojas, the Rojas Report?
Oh, really? I didn't see
Alejandro.
that.
Sorry.
Yeah, Alejandro. Yeah.
Like he's a regular guest on what Doug's reading. Like so he's on there all the time now.
Dude, that's awesome. I did not realize that. I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. He's a really cool dude.
I'm back, boys.
Ben's back.
You want to take a look at this other video?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hell
so
yeah.
I'll do a little bit of a setup for this one because this one isn't eye candy. This one it's got data behind it, and that's the interesting part. More or less what happened is I was out in my backyard. I was filming an object crossing the sky, and then I saw another object flash, and I just decided to stay with that one that flashed to see if it did it again. It did, and it did that for the next 23 minutes.
Whoa.
And didn't move in the sky. It stayed completely stationary. And at first I thought it was a drone or a helicopter, but man, 23 minutes in the same place at night over rural Tennessee where there's nothing to be hovering over, it makes it interesting. Yeah. So what it is, I don't know, but the what's popped into my mind is the reports. I think it was back in 2016, 17, the Roosevelt, where he said he saw a floating cube inside of a sphere.
Yeah.
That the ends of the cube were touching the sphere, and it was just sitting there hovering, monitoring something. I don't know what it was, but it flashed every just under 5 seconds for a 23-minute duration.
Dang, that's crazy.
That's a long time.
A long time. And this is the better video because I did get a chance to get my camera to be stationary. So it's not as shaky as the last one because that's kind of hard to stay stable for that long.
This video is the one where I saw the thing jump. So that's going to be interesting now that you said this is the one that you use the tripod for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool. Let's check it out.
I wish you could see. I know we've been having some internet issues here, but if I can, just let me know if it's playing or what. We'll stop it. But I know we're probably gonna back it up or whatever. We'll just communicate about that. But dude, yeah, this is
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, so we're gonna play this video. It's 3.5 minutes long, and yeah, dude, we'll just stop it. And I'd love to hear your comments at any point.
All right, I'm not seeing you share your screen right now.
That's because I'm not. Thank you.
Oh.
And okay, there we go. You see anything?
There you go.
Sweet. Yeah. I'm like just enjoying this by myself.
Okay. Take that.
Take that, dummies. I muted the volume as well. So okay, so we see like kind of a. Okay, you did. Yeah, you circled it with the red little circle here with the time lapse.
So basically what I was doing in this very beginning is identifying the first time I saw the flash and then the very last time so that I could figure out how long it was actually in the air.
Right. So the brightest object that we're seeing in this video, is that the object that flashed?
No, that is just another object that is floating through the sky at night, and I'm trying to see if it's going to do anything fancy.
Awesome. Okay, so this is obviously a slow-moving object, brighter than any star. Probably, what would you say, 10 times, 15 times larger than any of the brightest stars? And then you see a second one that looks kind of stationary, almost as big. And there's a lot going on here because this is the first time you see a flash, I think. I've stopped the video. I don't know if you're following, Dan, if this is coming through for you. But I believe this is the first time I saw a flash, and it's kind of triangulated between these two bright objects here. So I just press play again. Yeah. You see that flash right for the second time, which is... And so at this point in the video, the object that you were following initially has gone past the camera. So you're fixated on what is this flash, right?
Yeah. So I start paying attention to that. And then what happens next is this particular camera records in 3-minute files. So I ended up I was filming this thing. I got to the end of the first 3-minute file, and it automatically starts a new file and keeps the recording going. This is the only time this camera has ever had a glitch when I was recording this thing. If it's related, who knows? But I've never had that problem before, and I've never had that problem since. So it's just a strange.
I think there's something there, dude. Glitch.
Dude, yeah. This one's pretty interesting. I like this one. So what caught my attention about the flash is that me and my wife and a couple friends, we had rented this Airbnb out in Fredericksburg. And so we were just out there, and we were just looking around at the sky. We were waiting for the space station to come over because I was tracking it on my phone. Well, while we're sitting there waiting for the space station, we see this bright flash, and it catches my attention. I look over, and then same thing, it flashes again, real bright. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty neat. And then it moves, and then it flashes again. And it was a bright flash, and there was no sound. Like, it wasn't a helicopter. Whatever it was like not that far away. Like, had it been like some sort of flying machine, you would have heard it, and the way that you couldn't see it when it was dark, but it would just flash every now and then, and you would see it. And it did that for about like 4 minutes, probably 5 minutes, and then nothing. And then over in a different part of the sky, same thing, but it stayed in the same area before like it just turned off and moved. It's crazy. So those flashes,
weird.
Flashes are interesting.
So how big were the flashes? Were they like?
I couldn't see them with my naked eye. I had to have the camera on it. So that's once again another plug for getting a night vision camera. You see things you can't see with your eye.
So Dan,
I just happened to be looking over there at the right time and caught a flash.
So Dan, you couldn't see the flashes. Joe, could you see the flashes you're referring to? Like with your naked eye?
Yeah, I saw them with the naked eye.
Okay.
And everybody that was with me saw it too, because they were like, "Whoa, what was that?" And then they started they were like, "Oh, Joe, there it is. There's a UFO." And I was like, "No, I don't know what that is." But then it happened a couple more times in like a weird sequence. And then everybody was kind of like, oh, should we go back to the Airbnb? Like, people started getting nervous. I was like, look, I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is. I have no idea.
Airbnb stands for air, bacon and bread, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it was, I could see it with the naked eye though. Everybody saw it.
So, but Dan, you couldn't see your flashes. I'm trying to like correlate the two. Like, I don't know.
No, I couldn't see that. But one of the other things that happens in this video, which I didn't do a good job of editing it into it, there was that one object that just kept flashing and staying stationary. And the stars, it was staying so still that the stars looked like they're rolling by it. So it's just sitting there in the same spot in the sky, flashing every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
twice.
When you say rolling by, like, I'm telling you, man, the more I've watched, this may be like the 8th time I've watched this video, and it keeps getting weirder because like I focus on something different. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that you said that because I thought, like, is this like a camera trick? I mean, you're not some professional editor, dude. Like, it's just a guy with a camera. This is what he got. Okay.
Yeah. And I actually was anticipating something like that coming up. So I grabbed my phone and started recording my camera, recording the object, and I put it in the eyepiece so I could show that it was recording and untouched. So it's legit. I know it is because I took it, and I don't have the skill set to modify things like that for sure.
Yeah.
But something else that happened during that 23 minutes is it was sitting there flashing away. Twice there was a second flash that occurred nearby, and each one of the flashes at the primary object would take 1 frame. So I think that's a 30th of a second. This other one,
depending on what you're shooting
flashed,
at,
yeah. So this other one, it flashed for 3 frames. So all this, and it didn't accelerate in or travel in and travel out. It was just there, and it just flashed and then faded away. And it did that twice while this other object was continuing to flash every 5 seconds. And that was the one thing that I couldn't wrap my mind around, is there's this one object in the sky sitting still, and then there's this other thing that shows up. Surely he wouldn't want to get close to something that was in the sky that he could see that's sitting there flashing with its brights on, because it's got to be close. They've got to be close to each other if they're in the frame of this camera.
Yeah. Dude, maybe like, okay, so like you couldn't see it with the naked eye, but like you could see it through infrared. Maybe that's like a thing that they do, like they flash, like kind of like how the military lets you know where they are, like at nighttime with those.
Maybe they're just mooning each other.
Maybe.
But
that's how they get around, so they don't hit each other. They flash like, in that light spectrum to where you can't see it.
Yeah, and I've tried to look up what nighttime aircraft flashes that slowly, and I haven't had any success finding anything that comes close to flashing every 5 seconds. So
wow,
I'm at a loss. Don't know what it is, but I can't eliminate anything either.
You're right, dude.
Yeah, there's like air traffic control. There's an acronym with an F and a C and maybe an A in it. But there's like a rule that any aircraft that's being flown by a civilian, we'll just say civilians, even commercial, has to have a blinking light on the tips and the front and the back that pulsate, that flash at a certain cadence. And this is not what we're seeing.
That you can see with the naked eye.
Yes. Yeah. And we're really naked out there. My eyes are very naked. Okay, I'm going to press play.
My eyes never wear clothes, dude.
Oh, that's right. Dude, my eyes have underwear on all the time.
My eyes are hippies.
Yeah, dude, they are. Okay, I backed it up a little bit. Dan, are you seeing any of this? I'm sorry you can't see this real time.
I'm seeing the title slide, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, man.
Damn it. All right, well, I just pressed play. Are you seeing it? Say, okay, here.
Did you see something? Okay, did you see something fly by right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's stuff that flies by, but that's just normal stuff. If you're sitting there recording, if you just record a blank piece of sky for an hour, something's going to cross the path of your camera. Another reason to get one.
I dig that.
And this is another reason why that I believe you, Dan, because you offer information that other people are going to be like calling you out for, and you're like, no, look. Stuff happens, okay? There's little artifacts, and I mean, if you're seeing this full screen like I am, there's artifacts with the light. We're not seeing geometry. That's just pixelation. Like that's the sensor of your camera. You're not seeing, like, the sky isn't full of geometry. Maybe it is, but what we're seeing is that. But I do appreciate that periodical, like, oh no, that was a bug. That was dust. Whatever. Like, I feel like most people in your position that have this, I mean, I truly think this is great video, would be like, oh yeah, no, I don't know. It's probably the Anunnaki, dude. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So I'm selling a book later. So
there's always, whenever you have a problem there's always the chance that you don't have enough data to solve it. And I feel like that's what I've got in this case. I do not have enough data to solve what this is. So it classifies as an unknown and unidentified at that point. I'm not going to take the next step and say, well, I know what it is because blah, blah, blah. I don't. It's up for interpretation. I actually sent a tweet to Lou Elizondo several days ago and got a response from him. And in that particular tweet, I said, hey, I know he has 2 daughters because he's talked about them at times, and I have 2 daughters. So I said, hey, Lou, I'm a father of 2 as well. What would you advise me to have? What kind of a conversation should I have with my kids about the phenomenon? Because they know I'm interested in it, but I'm going to shield them from the fear-inducing aspects of what we discuss. Like,
right.
what is your thought on like communicating to our children about it? Because if like there's a generational problem where people that are older than us are going to immediately shoot down the UFO topic because that's what they were raised to believe and how to respond. We're changing that. Our kids are going to be completely different than we are. So at some point we need to look at our kids and say, how do we communicate what we're interested in to them in a manner that doesn't overwhelm them? Because like one of the fears that I have is if I'm into this and something ground shaking occurs, I don't want my kids to look at me and say, Daddy, what, you knew about this and you didn't say anything to us.
Right.
Like I want to give them little breadcrumbs every now and then. And so I'm telling you that to respond with Lou Elizondo said, hey, I appreciate the question. My advice to you is to tell them the truth and let them interpret the results for themselves. And that's what I'm doing when I look at these videos. I'm giving you the truths that I have. I'm not trying to interpret them for anyone else. I'm trying to interpret them for me.
Right.
But my opinion is only valuable to me. So data's out there. It's available for review. You can look at it. I'll share the files in any way, shape, or form. It's very boring. It's a flashing light that's 23 minutes long. I edited that thing for a good 12 hours to get that 3-minute hack job that you see right now. So
it's not easy.
Dude,
for sure.
I can't imagine. Yeah, like editing. And also there's all kinds of stuff that you can find, little Easter eggs that you can either just not pay attention to or totally focus on. So there is that little gray area of what's important to the video. And who knows, maybe you'll look back through some of those files later with better technology in a couple of years and be like, oh, I should look back and see the craft in all of its glory now with this new AI device. But no, but back to, I feel like you just slipped into this really cool convo that I would love to spend an hour talking about. Like, how do we bring this up to our kids? And how do you not come off like don't tell your friends that your dad is crazy. Okay. Like, don't bring me to the bring your dad to work day and say my dad is friends with aliens. Like, please don't do that. I feel like, I'm very aware of that. So I appreciate that convo for sure, dude.
I think it's a good answer too, man. Is like, just be honest. Tell them what you know. I mean, I'm sure Lou Elizondo probably has like 1 million documents that he's read, seen some pretty crazy shit, knows probably a hell of a lot more than like any of us do about whatever's going on, right? But I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, he's still kind of guessing just as much as the rest of us, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't.
He also
know.
doesn't speculate I love to speculate, but
yeah.
I love that he doesn't speculate. And Dan, you're not speculating. I know you like to talk about, other than these videos, the evidence that you're talking about, and you're interested in the other ideas. But when you're talking about evidence, right? Like, there's really no room for speculation. Because I didn't shoot this, I can talk about anything I want to. Just, But if I had shot this, I'd be very much like, no, it wasn't a flying toilet. I didn't this is what I saw. So yeah, I guess there's a different little level of convo there. But yeah, no, I like that. Just tell them the truth. Like, hey, this is what I know.
So a lot of my conversations with my kids on this topic include the words, I don't know what this means, but, or I'm guessing at this is what I've heard. But the overall picture that I try to paint for them, I think about what it would have been like to live on an island. Like we've watched Moana, where they live on this island, they have their entire civilization on this island, and then they can go somewhere someday and explore and see something else. Yeah. And I feel like humanity right now is traveling, like we're expanding out. We're not traveling, but we're expanding our environment. And we're starting to now see the shoreline of a world that we could never imagine. Like maybe we're on the verge of finding something else out that we didn't know existed. And we're about to have that. Like it's going to be, if what occurs is what I think it's going to occur, it's going to be the biggest event in mankind's history, without a doubt. I mean, the most impactful thing that our species is going to ever experience. And we might be just seeing the campfire smoke coming up off of a beach fire on this new world as we're getting closer and closer to it, and we're starting to actually be able to see what we're heading towards. So I try to paint it as we don't know what it is, but it is a new world that we've never known about. And so who knows what we're going to get.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the moral is it's human nature to get on that boat and just leave everything that is your world behind, metaphorically and physically. Leave it behind. If anybody's like interested in this subject, it's almost like if you want to start talking about it publicly, you have to leave that little island behind for a little bit and just see what happens. Talk to people, and you're gonna find some really interesting islands. And yeah, dude, like
definitely.
I think it's a journey that we're all kind of on that shore, like you say, Dan. Like, dude, that's such a beautiful way to put it, man. Also, in Moana, doesn't like she has like a relationship with the water where the water is kind of like playful with her, and she didn't really know like what that's about. I feel like there's a connection there with a lot of these people that right now are kind of experiencing this, well, quote unquote, 3 to 5D dimension thing. All they're doing is just realizing, like, just as we have said, if you don't look up, you're not going to see anything. Well, if you don't look within, you're not going to feel anything. I think a lot of people are starting to look within, and now they're starting to feel like, oh, I thought, this person was going to turn left, and lo and behold, they turned left. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm an engineer. I mean, that's what I focused on for most of my life, is just I'm mechanically inclined. I like cars. I like objects. I'm a nuts and bolts guy. So that aspect of the phenomenon is what I've paid attention to for my entire life. But now I feel like the change that's occurring in this realm that we're enjoying the ride of is that it's expanding out. It's no longer, most of us aren't looking at videos in particular to prove our points. We're looking at more of the unknown that we can't even comprehend yet. So there's definitely something else besides nuts and bolts in associated with this phenomenon that we're just now all kind of turning ourselves, opening our eyes to see a little bit wider.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. Dave Scott did like a beautiful piece on, I think it was called "What Are We Missing from Experiencers?"
Oh, yeah.
And that was such a great piece because it kind of like put into words how I've always felt. Like, absolutely, like the nuts and bolts aspect is pretty important, but at what point do you, a lot of these people's claims, it seems to be hard for it's easier for people to wrap their mind around a craft in the sky than it is for them to wrap their mind around something visiting you and having an experience with whatever it is. What are we missing, I guess, is basically what the article was talking about. Whenever you get into this realm where nuts and bolts don't work for what we know, like these people are experiencing something. They can't all be lying, right? As we were talking about the Bigfoot thing, it's like there's so many witnesses to this thing. Like, not everybody's seen it, and but that, how can we discount just thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have seen or experienced this thing? And that's been one of the biggest hurdles, like in my mind, is like I've always viewed it as there's so much to this that I don't think nuts and bolts can really explain. Not yet.
That's my big hurdle too, because like I'm a big fan of Grant Cameron. That guy talks about consciousness more than he talks about anything else, and my nature is to shut that down. Like, as soon as I hear somebody start talking about that, it's like, well, obviously they're into some weird stuff, and that's not true. As much respect as I have for the work that he's done, it's made me go, okay, if he's taking it this serious, I should be taking it a little bit more serious than I am. So that's like the transition that I'm trying to figure out right now on my journey is, what does this consciousness thing mean? How does that tie into our life experience and what's going on around us and the phenomenon? And is it, it's all got to be tied together. We live in a connected world.
Yeah. And then you start hearing like, okay, well, in your head, it's like, and I'm sure this is helpful for like really nuts and bolts people, is like, you look through it and then you're like, okay, I feel like I need this proof. And then you come across something and it's like, oh, the CIA wants to know what consciousness has to do with the phenomena. Like, okay, like the Department of Defense is spending millions of dollars on studying consciousness and also UAPs now. Like, what's the connection there? And then
the Gateway Project.
Yeah, it starts getting people to, think. But also at the same time, we got to break that barrier down. We know and we understand that it's so easy for somebody to just lie to you, right? But I think I've probably been lied to. Well, okay, let me finish this. It's so easy for people to lie to you, right? And when you hear somebody's story, it's easy to go, that person lied. But then you listen to some government official or the FBI or somebody or the CIA, they say something and you take heed, you kind of perk your ears up and you're like, oh, the CIA said that. Well, to be quite honest with you, more regular people, I think I've been lied to by my government and these agencies more than I ever have been lied to by a regular average person, So
absolutely.
We have to cross that hurdle on like, we got to start listening to the experiencers. They're the biggest key in this whole thing. We can't just keep sitting around waiting for the government, waiting for the CIA to say something, because even if they do say something, it's going to be, a matter of national security. So you're not really going to get the full story. And if you listen to an experiencer, they're going to tell you the craziest shit. And it's literally going to make your mind just explode. Like, that happened to you? And they're like, yeah, that happened.
Real quick, Joe, I just want to add on to that. What the government entities are releasing, they are allowed to release that, is what you're saying, right? So what does that tell you? There was some papers signed. There's a paper trail somewhere that said, hey, we're going to say this stuff. Is this okay? Who knows how long it's been going on, but whatever our government entities have released, it's been allowed to release. So think about that.
Right. So we look at these government documents and stuff and we're like, where are the missing pieces? Where's the rest of this story? Well, have you talked to an abductee? Have you just listened to what they had to say?
It's like Julian Assange or Snowden. Like they released some shit that the government was actually doing, and they got really pissed about it. And I understand. Yeah, national security. I'm really glad that we have a really secure government. Fucking love that. And whatever the public knows, China, Russia, everybody knows about it. Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. But I'm just reiterating the idea that all the stuff that you're seeing on the news has been allowed and sanctioned to be released, even though it feels like, oh, we're getting this dump of new. Yeah, yep. No, it's been planned. Just think about think about it, you know. So
and that's why I'm trying to lower my expectations for the UAP task force document that has 180 day fuse tied to it.
Right.
That I'm not so much worried about I'm not so much looking forward to what's in it as the fact that there is going to be a report that we can say, you guys released the report. You withheld everything that you considered national security, a national security issue. That's fine. I understand that. I appreciate that. But you're doing something. So there's more to the story that you're not telling us. I hope we get some nice pictures. That's what I'm really hoping for. I'm hoping for that triangular craft coming out of the water that they've been talking about in this report. If we can get anything like that, I'd be happy. But the sheer fact alone that the senators are looking at this, the intelligence agencies across the board are looking at it, not just one.
It's
that
big.
To me, that's a big trophy to put on your shelf.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you know, too, like a lot of aspects that like people don't consider when we talk about full disclosure. What does that mean? It's not just like a bunch of stuff's going to get released on the internet. We're talking, dude, there's like, if we really had full disclosure, that means they would have to talk about the My Labs programs. They would have to talk about these like MK Ultra programs. They're not going to talk about that shit. They're not going to say a word about any of that stuff. But these are military involved entities that, you know, if we're going to full disclose, I would love for you to maybe disclose some of the evil stuff you've been doing to people. And they're not going to do that, you know? So forget a full disclosure. That's just never going to happen. If you want it, we're going to have to start going to the people that are experiencing it. And that's a tricky route because, like I said, you never know who's, you know, lying or telling the truth. And to be quite honest about it, you'll never know. You got to spend a lot of time with some of these people. And, you know, there's a few out there that I think are pretty legit. I've met a couple that I'm like, I think that guy's wacky. But at the same time, you know, the wacky guy told me more than the government ever has.
Yeah. So whenever I hear experiencer stories, and I mean, and this goes to like Bob Lazar and things like that as well. Anytime I hear someone tell a story, it's my natural inclination to sit there and try to decide if they're liars or not. Like the first time I listen to something that they say, my BS meter is in full effect.
Yeah.
I've forced myself to start watching them twice now. And the second time saying, okay, if I was this person and I was trying to communicate this information to the rest of the world, I'm going to put myself in his shoes and say, how would I do this? How would I communicate this to other people?
Right.
And I think of the way that like Bob Lazar talked about touching the craft and how he's describing it and just kind of going through the description of it. And I'm like, man, it sounds like somebody that actually laid their hands on something and felt it, like, and is trying to put that experience into words. And it's not going to be believable because it's an unbelievable experience. So like, I feel like you got to look at it from both angles. Like, is this guy a BS artist or is this guy telling the truth? And it's just too hard to believe.
I know. And it's also interesting too, like when you talk to certain people, like, like the ones that I kind of like feel to be pretty legit, you know, like when you ask them to talk about it, they have such a, like, it's such an incredible thing that they, like, even though they were there, they saw it, they witnessed it, they have like, a slow delivery on how they explain what went on. You know, you can see them like go back to that spot, that place, that time. Like
you could see it happen in their face.
And you see them trying to explain something almost unexplainable. Like they don't know the words to use for whatever they saw, right? And then you get some people who are like, oh yeah, it was this. I saw it. It was like that big. Like, and then there was like 3 little ones that came out or whatever. You know, like, I don't know. You can kind of tell. Like some of these people like really have that PTSD. Like I saw some shit look in their eyes, dude. And it's just, it's something different.
And to play devil's advocate as well, there may be a small percentage of people that you think they're saying some bullshit, and I'm just throwing this wrench in the gears here, but I think that there are certain personalities like myself. Like I'm more of an introvert than extrovert. I know I have a fucking podcast and I talk about aliens for a lot of people, but like I'm actually an introvert. Like if something weird would happen to me, like physically, okay, I would not know how to do that. I would have to compartmentalize that into a very safe space and have a thing that I can trust, that I can say, a script almost in my head. So, but that's where I'm going with that. I'm not saying that everybody's telling the truth, but I'm saying that maybe there's a small percentage out there that has a little bit that they feel comfortable saying in front of a bunch of people because they get freaked out.
Yeah.
So any experiencers listening to this, like that's who I'm targeting that as. Like, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just thought that needed to be said.
It's just it's a guessing game, dude. You know, and that's why, like, you know, it's like you almost have to just get to know these people.
Yes, you do. Spend time with them, because, dude, I know what you're talking about, Joe, and I know that if you spend enough time with somebody, you know that they're bullshitting after a certain amount of time. Like you can see past that practiced story, and then you start asking questions and you're like, okay, you don't know anything.
And also too is like, you know, how we say that, like, you know, a lot of these experiencers, they have their radio story, you know, they have an hour time limit they have to fill. They got commercials. They got to remember certain things, break it down, and they section it in real nicely. And when you hear their story on like other shows,
a show like ours,
it's usually the same thing. But when you can do something like this and you can ask more questions and you can get into more pieces of the story, then they're like, oh, well, this other cool thing happened to me. And you're like, oh shit. You just start opening. It's cool to watch them open up.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
One of the big things that I look for or listen for when I'm hearing somebody's story is if they have an answer for absolutely every question that they get asked. No one knows everything. So I feel like the most genuine response that some people can give is, oh, I don't know. I have no idea how to answer your question. That to me provides a certain amount of credibility to someone's character if they're willing to admit they don't know anything or certain aspects of something. If they know all the answers, it's just a red flag for me.
You can feel it. Yeah.
I completely agree. Yeah, man. You could tell there's like some ego involved when like you ask a question and then they get caught up in the moment and they're like, they've taken this position of the all-knowing ego, and they're like, oh yeah, no, that's when a June bug, in the months of summer, a June bug, it's often in June. Like, dude, you don't have to. Yeah, but no, I agree. If somebody can like genuinely say, I don't know, man, it could be shit, I don't know. Like that's when I start to believe you. And going back to Bob Lazar, he has a lot of those moments. I mean, not just on the Joe Rogan podcast. Everybody knows that one. But there's been many more that he's just like, shit, I don't know. There was a basketball.
they beat him relentlessly until he gives them an answer. Like if you're getting interrogated and they ask that same question over and over again, and they're like, well, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? All right, I'll tell you something. It'll get you move on to the next question.
I think that's when great point, Dan. Like, that's when he mentioned, I guess I did see an entity that I thought might be a weird thing that I saw in a window for half a second. I think that's that moment, and they aired that moment. There was probably a lot of lead time up to that point. I think he's talked about this, where they kept asking.
Leading the witness.
Yeah, like, have you seen anything? Is this anything weird? Anything under the 4 feet tall? And he goes, oh man, I guess I did kind of see something, like at one point for like half a second, and it could have been a dummy that they were expecting or inspecting. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot of validity to that. To if you pound the question, if you've watched any kind of interrogation, I watch a lot of crime shit. I've been watching a lot of crime shit. Like cops can make a certain type of personality say literally anything.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, dude, so that personality and believing who to believe and how do they say things. It's like if those people, if someone was really, really wanting to tell an awesome story, they would like study all this stuff and write notes and like, okay, well, every now and then say you don't know, right? But you would still tell if they actually didn't know the answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Like if somebody were studying like how to tell a big lie, and they were like, hey, well, so apparently you're supposed to say, I don't know, to a couple of questions. I think you would still be able to tell if this person was lying or not. Am I getting too deep on that?
Well, it seems like either way, eventually it comes out. The truth comes out, I mean, there's obviously examples of people telling stories and then be like, hey, that's my story. So, I mean, it's
So there's one eyewitness testimony that to me is the gold standard by which we should all judge the other ones. And forgive me if I get his name wrong. I think it's Richard or Robert Hastings. He's the gentleman that recorded the missile launch. And as it was going up, it got intercepted and a UFO circled it, disabled it, and it started to tumble. Yeah. If you've not seen that guy's testimony, you need to listen to it. That guy, he gets on fire and he is telling it from his soul. Like, that's what I saw. I don't give a F what you think.
Yep.
Terry Glass can kiss my ass or whatever he said. But
he's like destroying Bill Nye, dude.
Yeah, like that guy is legit. I can believe what that guy says because he is saying it in a way that I would say it. Like if I had something like that happen to me, I'd be like, I don't care what y'all say, that happened. You can't tell me it didn't happen. It's real.
So there's I think it's called Nuclear Missiles and UFOs. It's like a long documentary.
Nukes and UFOs. It's good, man.
UFOs, man. It's really badass. It's got him and like 3 other dudes that talk about these experiences and stuff. And it's really cool. Yeah, no, he's definitely one that it's like, I believe that dude. I believe that dude 100%, So yeah, I mean,
I was trying to look up the video.
And if one guy's telling the truth, it's true. That's all it takes. And I'm putting my money on him.
Yeah, he'd be a real safe bet. He really would be. He'd be a real safe bet, man. But yeah, I mean, geez, you hear some of these stories like the Pascagoula case, and you're just like, what? I mean, these are just like two, like, I don't know, just like country bumpkin dudes who like had this crazy ass experience, and like, even now, like when you hear him on the radio, he's like, dude, I don't know what it was. It was crazy though. Like, and in that story, they have the robots and the clampy arms, and there's so much weird stuff in that Pascagoula case story, man. Like,
yeah, that one is very specific. Like, have you ever heard of any other case that had to do with clampies?
Not specifically. Like, I mean, no, I don't think so. Not specifically.
Yeah. I also like right on that idea. Lately, it feels like almost all the craft that we've been fed from credible sources have been a little different. Like we heard about, the most recent one was the Tic Tac, but before that actually was on one of the major news outlets. I think, Dan, you referenced it earlier. There was a sphere with a cube inside. I think that was printed. And then there was the Tic Tac. And then, in the 50s, there was flying saucers and stuff. But it seems like it's a little different almost every time there's like a new thing to come out. The Hornet that just came out a couple months ago was like that stink bug shape.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What do you guys think about why is it different each time? Is there that many different species coming here, or I don't know.
So I've got I just got a book that Lou Elizondo recommended on a podcast he had with David, and it starts with an M. I'm going to say it's Moreau or something along those lines. It's called Chains of the Sea, and it's 3 little novels. I'm reading through the one that has that Lou's referencing in it, and they have these different entities that are interacting with the human population. The human population doesn't know that they're interacting with them, except for a few people that can understand them. And one of the things that it says in there is the higher entity that's communicating with this child named Tommy is limited to that child's knowledge and words that are in his head that he can use to communicate with that kid. Like, he is only able to use what's inside of this kid's toolbox to paint this picture. So if it's a box of crayons, we might have the 8-pack and they might have the 64-pack, and we don't know what fuchsia looks like.
With
so
the sharpener on the back?
Using it. Yeah, I'll take one of those.
It's
so
a midnight
it's
special.
our understanding and perception that is directing what we see.
Oh, I totally believe that. I totally believe that. Not knowing, like, if you don't know what you're looking at, how do you know what you're looking at?
So,
they're speaking our language. They're using our knowledge. They're using what we are familiar with. It was blimps in the 30s and 20s that they would see the aircraft. It was saucers that became prevalent. Now it's Tic Tacs. I guess once they invented big propane tanks, maybe we started seeing Tic Tacs in our in our skies.
Yeah, and that ball with the cube in it, that's the one where they saw a fleet, and then there was one mothership that was with the fleet that was they saw.
The East Coast, right?
Yep.
I think
that's
so, yeah.
The gimbal and the go fast, I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I've got a question, Dan. So the book you're referring to, is that a science fiction novel or what?
It's a science fiction novel, and it's from like 1973. So it's dated, but it is. And the reason Lou recommended it is because he said, I'm not saying what's in here is true, but this was recommended to me to read because it is going to open up the realm of, it could be multiple things. It's not just you're looking for one specific answer to the question. You're looking at a plethora of different possibilities that could be intertwined with each other. And we don't know what's going on around us because we can't observe it. I haven't finished the whole thing yet. I'll be honest, full disclosure.
What this podcast is all about, not finishing things and talking about it anyway. I do want to reference the Midnight Special because that reminded me the little boy that had some kind of connection with some higher power. We have a good friend, Lorian Fenton, that said, "Hey," or was it Melinda? I'm sorry, Joe.
I think it was Lorian.
Was it Lorian?
Yeah.
Lorian said, without giving too much away, she was like, "Hey, you guys should watch Midnight Special because that's the closest something that it's gonna get to actual reality." And we were like, "What? That sounds cryptic as fuck. Like, what do you mean?" So yeah, Anybody that hasn't seen, Dan, have you seen that movie? Midnight Special?
I haven't even heard of it until just now.
Oh,
it's a documentary, I'm assuming.
Bro, you're gonna love this. You're gonna be up all night.
It's an actual movie. It's called Midnight Special.
Really well
done.
Not
the one from the 80s. It's a new one.
Yeah, it's really well done, man. I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to also give you a trailer verbally and like ruin it, but dude, if you don't have work in the morning, I would watch it tonight, dude. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the watch for sure. It's good.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that old Walt Disney movie about UFOs? I think came out in like the 50s.
Joe showed me that. Yeah.
That's such an awesome movie.
Dude,
for the
crazy.
time it was made. It's great.
Dude, it's so cool. Yeah, man. Dude, I think they had some knowledge, man. Like, I don't know. I feel like Disney's
that might have been before the clamps got really tight on the information. Yeah. Maybe it was a little bit more available to the people in the higher ranks of society. Maybe they were able to get access to it, and that's where some of that came from. Who knows? Because
there was supposed to be another one where I think it was like Marilyn Monroe and Donald Duck, or maybe it was Marilyn Monroe and Mickey Mouse, but she was like a co-host to this UFO documentary that they were going to do, and it got completely shut down. And it's like, okay, so like the earlier stuff, they were able to show it, but then you get into like this, Cold War, Marilyn Monroe, top secrecy era, and they're like, nope, not doing that. I don't think so.
I personally think there was a time where the powers that be, and I'm not talking about the government, I'm talking about literally what's controlling the government and Hollywood and all that. The power of information decided, hey, look, let's just go ahead and tell them. Let's just do it. Okay, well, who's the best? How do we do that? Disney's pretty cool. We could animate some stuff because we can't get this shit on film, so let's just animate it. Okay, Disney, what's up, dude? Let's go. Yeah. What other options do you have? There's no Cartoon Network. There's no, who else is doing that at the time? So I feel like there was a moment where we were on the verge of actual disclosure that we all believe that, like full disclosure, Joe, like you were talking about earlier, which is not going to happen right now, probably ever. But yeah, that was the closest we've ever gotten. And there's evidence that Disney started the project, which is fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
And then we got Melvin the Martian that was like,
pew.
I love Marvin, dude.
Yeah. Also, Marvin, you don't see his face, so he's actually he's kind of an apparition if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin, he's a multi-dimensional. Have you ever looked at the Marvin the Martian?
Yeah,
not closely.
He's a multi-dimensional dude. He's a shadow figure, bro. Look at it. He's just wearing armor and shit. I don't know. I thought that was cool.
Well, I think he came from Mars, right? That's why he wears the battle uniform, because Mars is like the warring planet.
Yeah, but it's just two eyes floating in a helmet. Like he doesn't have a body.
Because he's communicating telepathically. He doesn't need a mouth.
Oh shit! I don't even have a telephone.
And he's got a ray gun. I'll take a ray gun.
He's got a ray gun.
Ray guns are dope, dude.
Hell yeah. Hey, I want to finish that video.
Yeah, I was about to say we barely even tapped into that video.
pull up that video.
Yeah,
this is why, Dan, we were like, yeah, you'd be surprised how long we could chat with you for. So let us know when you're ready to go. I definitely want to pull up this video again, so I'm gonna share that really quick. Can y'all see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the last time we stopped was the second time the object flash, and Dan, the object you were following kept going, but you saw this flash, so you stayed, and through the camera view, you're like, oh, what the hell is this? So that's where we left off. So it says, my camera records in 3-minute files. This is the first, resulting 8 minutes of missing film. I didn't realize that had happened. I don't know if you want to fill that info in.
Yeah,
Man.
that basically is me sitting there filming something, but not having the record button pressed. And I think we've all done that in our life at some point. So I've got 8 minutes of no footage. And then I have one file that doesn't have any footage of it as it flipped over. So I finally figured out that it wasn't recording after I was able to get it into a tripod. So it was stationary. And then I was able to get the better resolution footage as it spent the next several minutes, 15 minutes probably, just sitting there locked in the sky as the stars passed by behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now we're past the craziness, and I don't know what happened, but yeah. So notice the stars are moving, but the object is not, and we're at 8 minutes and 43 seconds, 29 milliseconds. I know math. And then yeah, you see like, okay, well, it's just a photo. No, it's not a photo, man. And then this flash, this flash goes boom, baby. And it says 16th speed. And there's also, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's some shit flying around in the background. I don't know if that's bugs or like planes or what that is, but.
And that's cool because you can see the stars moving.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What you're saying is that the camera stationary, this is how slow the stars are moving. This is the Earth moving. But that flashing is is it in the same spot?
So at the very end of the video, I took all the frames that had the flash illuminated and tried to stabilize the footage as best I can. And it stayed within just, if you kind of look at the numbers as they tick by on the bottom of the recording, it might travel 2 digits worth from the right to the left as it's moving across as I'm recording this thing. So it's virtually motionless. Like right. I don't know anything that can hold that still for that long. Holding more still than the stars is got to be a task for any helicopter pilot or drone pilot. I mean, it's got to be pretty tough to be up there that long and not move vertically, east, west, north, south, nothing like that.
I just want to say really quick. So this last frame, let's see, where it says 16 times speed, it's at 18 minutes, 53 seconds. The light
3 minutes 4 seconds on the YouTube video.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. The light is flowing with the stars. So that means I don't know what that means mathematically, but that's weird that it's able to be like, oh, I'm a constellation now.
Yeah.
Like that. Wait, hold on. There's some math there that doesn't add up if it's in our atmosphere. So I'm going to press play again. And okay, well, it's only for a short second, but the guy flashes and like, oh, now I'm part of the stars. Look at me. Oh, yeah. And then, okay, so now we're at 3 minutes and 18 seconds. And now we're seeing the flash pulsy guy.
Yeah, that's the money shot right there. That's like all the good parts of 23 minutes worth of filming condensed into a 20-second stretch, and that's just showing you like what it's doing, and it really shows you how fast the stars are moving in relation to this object being stationary in the sky.
Yeah. Just a question, because did you add any like saturation to the film or anything just to like bring out the colors, just so like? No,
I didn't even think to do that, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, I had to ask because I mean, you don't see these kinds of colors. There's a spectrum that you see with these flashes.
So just keep in mind, this is a night vision camera, so I don't know if its colors and flashes are going to be accurate or not. I just don't know. I don't know enough about cameras to speak to that.
That was actually the perfect answer, because if you had known, you would say, no, I don't know. I didn't use lumetri color. I didn't use a LUT on it, or I didn't add the fact that you don't know.
I wiped the lens with a microfiber cloth. That's the only modification I've ever made to the camera.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Those microfibers are dope.
Those are great videos, man. I love it. And like you said, like we can't figure out what it is, we can only go so far, but I mean, damn, dude, it's definitely what you caught is definitely the most different thing in the sky that you've seen. So yeah, hold on to it.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, all it is more data. That's
what everyone needs. Like, we don't need just a 3-second clip. That's not going to help anybody out. But if we can start getting things that are longer duration events, maybe that'll help us establish a pattern of some sort.
Yeah.
I've also tried to get a hold of Ryan Bledsoe to have him look at that orb video that we showed earlier to see if that, of all the people that I know, I would say that their family knows more about orbs floating in the skies than most. So I'd like to just hear his opinion on it. I've tried to send it to him several times today, and I don't think I know how to use Twitter well enough to actually get him the message. So hopefully I'll hear back from him sooner or later and see if he sees any similarities.
Yeah, that would be super cool. That would be super cool, man.
Yeah, it seems like he would know. I mean, he's had his own share of sightings as well, so I'd be curious to see what he thinks of that. It's weird, like the night vision. It's almost as if there's people think of night vision, it's like green and black, but what we're seeing now is just it's different. I love it. Like it almost looks like it's full color. That's why I asked, like, did you add saturation or something in post? Or
so that green color you see in night vision is green because those things are expensive. Like mine is a digital. It's got a what am I going to call it? An intensity magnifier. So it's not like true night vision. It's like a digital form of night vision, but it's so much better than your eye. It's a force magnifier. So it's definitely going to be an improvement on what you're going to see in the night sky. And it has 2 modes. It has it tries to color in the surroundings. Like it's intended to be used outside in your backyard as you look for varmints to shoot as you're spotlighting them. And you can see colors at that time. But then if it's dark enough, it'll switch over to just a night light is what they call it, a night light mode. And it'll adjust its the brightness of whatever. I don't know a lot about this technology, so I'm not going to be able to elaborate on it. But it will switch over to basically a black and white mode. And so that's one of the things you saw in that video is it was trying to color the environment that it's recording.
Yeah.
And then it switched over to just I call it the black and white mode. But I can't afford the green color night vision goggles. So
I
you won't see any videos like that.
I prefer this one a lot more, dude. I like the footage is honestly, like Joe was like, did you see that email from Dan? I was like, what? I watched it and I mean, dude, I have not seen footage that really kind of shook me in a long time. So
it was definitely cool. Definitely good stuff.
Super stoked.
Just looking up, man. That's the key. Look it up. So dude, hey, I was gonna say that orange ball that I saw, I was telling you about that flew over the house.
Yeah.
So Ashley posted on our page not too long ago is this video. It says UFOs over the Bronx, and there's these 3 orange dots. That is the closest that I've seen to exactly what I saw, except for there was only one.
Gotta look that up.
It's big. They're big, and they're weird.
Shit. All right. Well, we'll look it up here in a little. Should we show it now?
I mean, go for it. It's not that far down.
Is it on?
It's on the group page.
I can tell you as a listener, there's nothing more enjoyable about an episode than having you guys call out a particular post that we put in there. So whoever posted that is probably smiling from ear to ear right now. So play it.
Yeah,
UFOs in the Bronx. All right, I'm going to share the screen. Let's go.
In the Bronx.
UFOs in the Bronx. Love that.
Exactly what it looked like.
Okay, dude. So this is what Joe saw.
But it was only one. But you see how big they are compared to everything?
Yeah, dude. And it's weird, because the camera, I bet it looked a lot bigger with your eyes than it did with the camera, dude.
You'll see it.
Oh, yeah.
Go by this building, and you'll see how big they are.
Dude, this is formation, bro.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Oh, did you see it turn orange just then?
Yeah, it's exactly what it looked like. It was only one though. Oh damn! Dan can't see it.
I've watched it. I've seen it. I know what it looks like. Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
So it stops. It's kind of hanging out over that
building. And it slowly kind of like moves out, but yeah. It's pretty interesting.
As they zoom in, it goes from like orange to like red.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep. That's exactly
awesome.
what it did.
Holy shnikes.
So
yeah, that's eye candy footage. Like that's entertaining to see.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Dude, Ashley, great post. Wow, dude. I don't know what to say after that. So that's what you saw.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it looked like.
What is that?
Except there was only one.
There was one.
Dude. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Also, I wanted to give Austin Barrett a shout out because I don't know if you've seen it yet, Ben, but he sent us a message. You remember how we were talking about creating the world's tiniest PBJ?
Dude, yes, I saw that.
Yeah, he sent us a message with an empty peanut butter and jelly bag. Or it just has...
Said my wife made this for me for lunch.
And it's empty?
No, dude, I laughed for fucking hours after that. I never responded because of...
It was hilarious.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, shout out, awesome. Man. That's good stuff.
Oh, my God. Dude.
Oh, man. Well, dude, hell yeah, man. This has been fun, dude. This has been a good night.
Hey, so we got puppies.
Yeah, this is my dog Lucy. We call her Lucifer, but she's turning into a nice dog.
Lucy.
But I'm in my bedroom, so I'm getting kicked out because it's about that time. So
yeah.
I appreciate you guys letting me come on the show and talk. It's been great.
Oh my God, are you kidding me, dude? Thank you so much for coming on the show, dude. Like, wow. Yeah. You're just an awesome guy, man. Great hanging out.
Thanks, guys. All right. Well, I'm going to cut out here.
Us.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Later. All right. So, dude. That's pretty good stuff, man.
Dude, that was awesome, man.
I had a good time.
Me too. That was great. I love how like we could just do the screen share, and I wish he would have been able to see what we were looking at though.
I know, me too.
Could you see the videos I was playing?
Yeah, I could see him.
Okay.
He was very insightful. Like I wanted to take all the shit he was saying and put it in a little coffee table book.
I know. It's like shit. We could make so many T-shirts out of a lot of the stuff that he said.
Yes, dude.
I made a couple notes. 247 is a pretty cool little clip. There's a lot of clips. He's a great dude. Yeah, he's a great dude. Like, I also just really crazy synchronicity that he was probably one of our first listeners. And the time that he found us was at a time where he really needed what we were putting out into the world, which when we started this thing, there was no point to it. We were just like, we got to do this.
I know.
So,
it's pretty awesome.
I think we just, I love that man and love that man. And I also love that man. But yeah, dude, that was so fun, dude. So many great, awesome ideas, dude. Hathor, I want to look more into that. I have another question I wanted to ask him. Maybe I could ask you, Joe, because you build things. You know how things work. I've been thinking about this for a little bit, dude. All right. The pyramids.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
They've been there for a while.
You've heard of them. They've got shafts that go down to. Let's talk about one pyramid for example, the Great Pyramid of Giza. There's the Queen's Chamber.
Hey, do you hold on real quick? Do you think the pyramids argue about who has the biggest shaft? Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
He's like, no, I have the biggest shaft.
I have the biggest shaft. No, How tall is your tip? Thine tip is taller than yours. How shiny is your tip? Shinier than...
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
Fucking love that. I did that like throughout the whole...
I'm who that guy's talking about. I'm bad at cutting people off.
I love how the dude that was like trolling us on YouTube, as soon as I was like, that's actually some really good feedback. Thank you. He was like, oh, okay. Which, great feedback.
And now we're trying to do better.
We get excited and we cut our guests off sometimes, and that's not optimal. And tonight, I think we did a good job, dude. Especially being over Zoom.
Yeah, it's harder on Zoom.
Yeah, the timing is weird.
And then you get a bunch of dead air because you don't want to talk over anybody.
See, that's why I'm like, it's fucking me up, dude.
Oh yeah. Shit!
But I feel like it went well.
Hey, you were gonna say about building something.
Yes. Okay. So pyramids. Here's my idea, dude. Shafts. Okay.
One bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Mother wiki week. I think let's look at the geography of Egypt at the time, that we think that this ancient advanced civilization existed, which was 10 to 15,000 years ago.
It was an icy rainforest.
Icy rainforest?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know more about it than I do. I'm just saying, Graham Hancock says that it was like a lot more rainfall, but I've never heard him say anything about it being a jungle. So I think there's a reason for that, because it doesn't matter if it rains a lot, if there's sand everywhere, dude. It's just gonna poo. So what do you do if you've been given a bunch of land, or this is the land? Hey, your rulers say, look, this is where shit's happening. This is where trade's happening. There's a river going through. This is what we got. People, let's make it happen. And then they build this thing that's like, hey, we got some smart people on our staff that can make water come out of nowhere, and then we could bring in soil from other places. I think there's a little misdirection going on. It's not the stone blocks that were quarried in from hundreds of miles away. It's more like the fertile soil and the things that were meant to grow food that were brought into this desert area, because I feel like the Sahara Desert's been a desert for like a lot longer than a lot of people think.
Yeah. Or, well, I mean,
you can look at parts of Texas and you can't grow shit in Texas.
Yeah.
And it looks green from a satellite.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I think there's like a little map that you can go through, like the amount of years, and watch how like the desert and forest and stuff like react over the years. So I don't know. Maybe the Sahara Desert's getting like, I would assume it's getting bigger, because that's what happens when you get a desert, is it starts to just grow and grow and grow. But I know that there's like this thing happening right now where they're planting a bunch of trees in Africa, and it's supposed to help stop the growth of the desert.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
So what would stop the growth of a desert?
Well, implementing like microclimates all over the place, trying to, capture and harvest water when it does rain.
Okay. Water. Okay.
Yep.
What happens when you homestead or you buy a piece of land out in the middle of nowhere? You drill for water. You find an aquifer. There's people think like, oh yeah, people just there's water towers periodically through towns, and cities are very randomly spaced because that's the way that the roads go. No, dude. People placed cities where water was found.
Yeah.
With aquifers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the largest rivers in the world goes through Egypt, so I mean that's makes sense.
The aquifers are underground rivers.
Aquifers. I thought you were just talking about finding water in general.
Finding water in yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to say like no to your point. I'm just saying like in Texas, yeah, there's a lot of rivers and lakes and shit, but a lot of them are man-made, as we all know. But throughout the world, it's been a known thing to just drill for water. Like, just try to find it. It's like trying to find oil.
Yeah.
Right? If you're close to a river, there's bound to be an aquifer nearby, and that means that there's underground caves that have been over thousands of years quarried by water going through limestone and other sedimentary that are a little less dense than bedrock. So then you get these little underground rivers. So anyway, without talking like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, which I don't, I think that the pyramids were big water towers. That's what I think.
Big like little holding tanks?
Water towers. No, not holding tanks. They were siphoning water from an aquifer down below. When you take a straw and you hold the top of it, right? Have you ever done that, like with your Mr. Gaddy's straw and like put it in as a kid and you like bring it out and there's like, oh, it's so water in there. But then you put it in and then you put your finger in and you're like, oh, sweet, there's water in there now. And then you're like, oh, Sprite tastes good.
Yeah.
Same thing, dude. Those shafts, man. There's something to I'm not claiming to know that there's like I know what the fuck happened, but there's something to do with water, okay? And then there's these airtight shafts and chambers that are particularly placed in a way that means something. And they're small. They're not meant for people to walk through, so they have to be meant for something other than somebody just walking through and like burying somebody. I think it's total bullshit.
Yeah. Or you know, like to build off that point a little bit, maybe like, yeah, they did siphon water or bring water into them, and then maybe they threw some salt in that bitch and then put a gold cap on it, and that's why people think they're batteries.
Oh shit.
And some of those like random chambers and stuff were just a way to get material in there.
Okay. All right, building off that
water coming out.
Right. Okay.
Because the shafts go up, right?
They do go up, yes.
Like if you're on the inside, they're going up to a higher point. So
some down into the bedrock.
So if you had water down here filling up, you'd want shafts that go up to a higher point so you could put stuff in there.
Exactly, yes.
So water doesn't come out.
Yeah. So what if you had, okay, we could figure out the math later, but I want to get this idea out really quick. Remember that video I sent you about the town and the guy that like his whole town is experiencing like these frequencies, these low frequencies.
Oh yeah, the little hums.
The little hums. So the guy said, look, like all of our plants are dying. Like people are getting sick because of these low frequencies that are like affecting your immune system and stuff. And it's because of these gas lines and the vibration that this liquid makes in these gas lines that are underground are emitting these frequencies that are not good for your brain or your body. So what if by siphoning out this water from the pyramids into something else, you're siphoning out through these chambers that are tuned and these rooms that are tuned to a specific frequency at a specific pull and push and flow and whatever volume that creates energy in some way. Because if you get enough vibration and you set a couple of copper coils next to a magnetized metal or whatever, and you can make it move with a frequency, which, I mean, sympathetic resonance. Like if I can hear my guitars in the background, like sing to it, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something there, dude. I feel like I'm diving deep.
It's a whole nother episode, but yeah, I completely agree with you, man.
This is like there's like a circle.
Yeah. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, but that was fun, man. Dan, I didn't ask him if we can use his last name, so Dan, great job, bud. That was awesome.
Dan Barbaran.
Dan Moran. Dan. You're supposed to go high on that.
I can't. My voice. I'm losing my voice.
Oh, that's right. Damn, you sound all deep and sexy, dog.
Hey, this has been another episode of UFO Garage. Hi, I'm Joe.
Talk about Ford. Ford Truck Month.
right now. Come on in and get a 0 down, 0 APR, and a new Ford military grade aluminum. Which means it's just like your aluminum. It's just aluminum that was sold to the military. rated number 1 in Truck Month magazine. Rated 5 stars in Auto Trader. I'd be a terrible commercial guy. I'd be all like, and then you can also get this. And then if you act now, they could talk to their manager. And,
One second. I gotta talk to my manager. What'd you say? Wait. Oh, sorry. Shut up. I gotta talk to my manager. All right.
Good stuff, man.
That was fun.
Hell yeah.
All right, Barrage. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night on Space Radio at 11 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
11 o'clock Central Standard.
Central? Yeah. I think we're doing like a little round table thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it going to be like on the show? Is it like a little side thing that he's doing? Like, I don't really know. But when we find out, we'll let y'all know.
It might be live, dude. I've been watching his shit almost like every night because I work late on the weekdays. So I've been watching his shit like crazy. That's what Dan was referencing earlier.
Yeah.
That was me, dude. I was like, dude, I've been watching his shit.
I listened to it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But dude, that'd be cool if we were live, dude. That'd be awesome.
That would be pretty cool, man. Hell yeah. I'm excited.
Do you want to come to the studio for it, or are you gonna hang out at your house?
I might come to the studio for that.
All right,
that'd be kind of cool.
We'll talk tomorrow. We'll see what's
up. Hell yeah.
Well, now that we got this dope background,
yeah,
we got to come up with something to like funny to put, not just the logo, but like something funny. I don't know.
All right, that'll work
for the show tomorrow. I mean,
for tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know, something funny like a turtle, or I don't know, like a worm or something with like a boner. I don't know.
All right, we'll think about it.
All right, bud.
Hell yeah, dude. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, peace.
Peace.